everyone. So right now we're here to talk about how should the operations in restaurants be. Should you apply automation in your restaurants? So basically, what I find interesting is that automation is clearly there. It's clearly working, right? So better question that we should ask is if um, how do operators or does automation work best in commercial spaces? So my friend here, Robert, works at UNOX, very innovative styles of ovens and equipment for kitchens. Um, so I would like to have four points, which is first is consistency. So it is understandable that there is a uh, good the consistency of the machines are there, and it can improve the the operations of the kitchen, and of course it can reduce the dependency of certain key staff and also for key chefs as well. And third, in terms of scalability, it can be an easier way to scale up your operations or, yes. Um, Second part was that where does your automation or this kind of technology best fit in your operations? Uh, so first of all, I think, in my view, uh, operators that has a higher volume of outputs as well as a repetitive kind of actions or repetitive productions can can have a good advantage for this kind of automation. Third if brands are trying to scale up, have more outlets, and of course, in terms of training the staff, it will be an easier uh, it can be an easier training for the staff in terms of the outputs, which is now more consistent. The third point that I would like to uh, put in is that in terms of value, what does operators consider first before buying this kind of equipment, or how will they implement, or what should they consider when they are going to implement automation? First, I think, in my view as a consultant, operators tend to see that it will replace labor. However, in the real hidden cost for this kind of for F&B establishments are more on the operations. First of all, if there are inconsistencies in your menu, or if there needs to be retraining for your staff, or the third one is if you need if you need to scale up your business as well. So the real question here uh, is not whether the technology works, because it is working. It's more on how does it match? How does automation match well with your concept or with the business model that you are going to provide? And lastly, in terms of the readiness of your staff, I think that in terms of training, automation doesn't really eradicate or eliminate training. It just gives a change in type of training. So for the chefs or for the cooks, from the cooking skills, then there will be more a change of training in terms of the programming or the maintenance or the cleaning as well for the staff. So all in all, I think that automation doesn't really, it does not replace operational excellence. It simply is an amplifier of it. And if there are systems in place, for example, a good standard operating procedures, or if you have a stable menu, or if the management is more taking accountability, as well as they have performance trackers, then these adopting these technologies can give a very good competitive impact for the establishment. However, if they don't have these foundations, if those foundations are weak, then it will those equipment might just become another expensive equipment. So yeah, thank you.
So hands up if there's any chefs with us today in the crowd. No? Chefs? No? It's okay. No, one of the most important things, so from a manufacturing perspective, is we looked at what is one crucial thing for a chef, and that is time. We know, obviously, through the years to get the craft is for a chef is the time put in the kitchen. Obviously, results then become better. So what we looked at from a manufacturing perspective was how can we give time back to the chefs so that they can then refine their craft and they can fundamentally improve their dishes that they put out into the table. One of the other things that we looked at from a manufacturing perspective is how do we encourage now Gen Z and younger generation, how do we encourage them to want to come into the F&B world? And that's why when we looked at the technology that we have within our ovens is, one, we have something called an optic cooking, which it can be over 5 or 6 trays, where they can put the trays in of different products into the oven, they can close the door, and the AI will generate and it'll understand what the chef has actually put into the oven. And it generates the time based off the cooking chamber. And what we're trying to look at there is we're based off feedback as well. So again, from the panel discussion that we heard before is AI is not here to fundamentally take over, but AI is here to help the chef and improve the standards of every day of what they're doing. So from that perspective, from a manufacturer, there's plus points and obviously negatives, because we're not saying that we're trying to take away what a chef does, but we're just trying to give them the time back so that they can use their craft and their skills to fundamentally create better dishes.
I think we have a question here. It says here, is automation possible end-to-end for a whole process or a food item? So maybe you can answer first, and then maybe I can give my sense.
No. Yeah, your stance.
Okay. So I think it is possible. However, it depends on the type of establishment or what the concept of that establishment is. So again, hospitality is something about the human touch. If we are going to do it from end to end, then we will lose that kind of human touch, right? And again, it's something that for us to amplify this standard operating procedures so that we can have a better connection with our customers as well. So yes, I think it is possible, but it depends on what kind of concept it is.
Yeah, so back to your point there, Joseph, is, from our perspective is we just need consistency. So it doesn't matter if a chef is cooking here in Singapore or if they're in Australia or in South America. It's just having that consistency right across. So if you use Accor with Tony and you have the multiple chains that they have, is if you go into an Accor property in Asia Pacific or you go to an Accor property in Europe, is the consistency of food that is produced in any of those properties, it should be consistent right the way through the board. So that is our on our agenda from a manufacturing perspective, to make sure that we are here to help produce at the end of the day, which is the most important thing.
Cool. Second question is, will automation become a competitive advantage or simply the new baseline for hotel F&B?
Yeah, back to my point there with the automation and the optic cooking that we have is it can be used as an advantage because the chef now has his time or her time back to refine the dishes that they're currently doing. So yeah, it's an advantage, but it has to be utilized in the correct way. We see today that there is ill-skilled a shortage as well, shortage of chefs and ill-skilled chefs. So this at least raises the standard so that the consistency across the kitchen is there from the beginning.
Yes. Yeah, I agree with Robert here. In terms of automation, it does give a competitive advantage. However, operators must think that they have these good foundations already in place, or they would so these foundations are, for example, detailed standard operating procedures for this kind of automations, proper training for their staff, or a stable menu or things like that. So if those foundations are weak, the equipment might be underutilized or underused. Okay, so third one, do you think this new standard for hospitality or in the food industry would then be a combination of humans and AI technology, or is this going to be more like a fad?
No, I think again back to the point is it's how it's used. It's the same way that if we use other AI platforms, I know there's Gamma for presentations, there's ChatGPT or DeepSeek in China. Is how we utilize and how we get the best out of that. So it's how we train these AI to get out fundamentally what we want. But I think it's also vitally important that we don't get lazy and we just use this all the time. I think we still have to do the research ourselves. We still have to, and I know Tony picked up on a point earlier where he said that people now can use this technology to be far more advanced than what they would have been before. But that comes from years of experience. So from that perspective, it's how we use it, but also it's still vitally important that we still keep to the traditional methods as well.
All right. Yeah, so it's more of like hospitality and AI must work hand in hand. And again, in terms of the human touch, we should still be trying to implement that one so that the customers can feel taken care of as well. So yeah, it's really a question of whether or not the technology is good, but it's more of like how can we work hand in hand with AI and embrace it fully and effectively for a better operations. So yeah, I think we're good. Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you guys. Thank you.